Hi everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel Listen English Story with GKS. Chapter 1. A Fisherman in a Village. Once upon a time, in a small fishing village by the sea, there lived a fisherman named Jack. He was a simple man who lived a simple life, spending his days fishing in the ocean and selling his catch at the market. One day, while Jack was out at sea, he caught a fish that was unlike any he had ever seen before. It was large, with shimmering scales of gold and silver, and its eyes glowed like jewels in the sun. As Jack examined the fish, he realized that it was a rare and valuable species that he had never seen before. He knew that he could sell it for a large sum of money, and he began to dream of all the things he could do with the profits. But as he gazed into the fish's eyes, something stirred in his heart. He realized that this fish was not just a means to wealth and material possessions. It was a living creature, just like him, and it deserved to be treated with respect and compassion. With a heavy heart, Jack released the fish back into the ocean. As he sailed back to shore, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had made the wrong decision. He knew that he could have sold the fish for a lot of money, which would have provided for him and his family for a long time. But he also knew that he had made a choice that aligned with his values and what was right in his heart. As he arrived back in the village, he told the other fishermen about the rare fish he had caught and released. Some of the other fishermen scoffed at him, telling him that he was foolish for letting such a valuable catch go. But there were others who admired Jack's decision, and who saw him as a man of integrity and honor. They respected his values and admired him for his courage to make a decision that went against the norm. From that day forward, Jack continued to fish in the ocean, but he did so with a new sense of purpose. He realized that fishing was not just about catching as many fish as possible and making as much money as he could. It was about respecting the ocean and its inhabitants, and about making choices that aligned with his values and what was right in his heart. As time went on, Jack became known as a wise and respected member of the fishing village. His story of catching and releasing the rare fish became a legend in the village, and his decision inspired others to make choices that aligned with their values as well. The fisherman had learned that sometimes the greatest treasures in life are not material possessions, but the sense of purpose and peace that comes from living a life of integrity and compassion. Chapter 2. A Fisherman in a Village. As the days passed, Jack continued to fish and sell his catch at the market. He always made sure to only take what he needed and never more, always mindful of the impact his actions could have on the ocean's ecosystem. One day, as he was preparing to set sail, he saw a group of young boys playing by the shore. They were throwing rocks at a school of fish that had washed up on the beach, laughing and shouting as they did so. Jack knew that the boys didn't understand the harm they were causing. He approached them and gently explained that the fish were living creatures that deserved respect and compassion. He showed them how to carefully pick up the fish and release them back into the ocean, so that they could continue to live and thrive. The boys were amazed by Jack's kindness and wisdom. They had never thought of the fish as anything more than objects to play with and destroy. But Jack's words had touched something inside of them, and they realized that they too could make a difference in the world by treating all living creatures with kindness and compassion. From that day forward, the boys would often come down to the shore and help Jack release the fish back into the ocean. They would watch in wonder as the fish swam away, grateful for their second chance at life. As time passed, the boys grew up and went their separate ways, but they never forgot the lessons they had learned from Jack. They went on to become teachers, doctors, and community leaders, always mindful of the impact their actions could have on the world around them. And Jack continued to fish in the ocean, always with a sense of purpose and compassion. He knew that his actions, no matter how small, could make a difference in the world. And he was proud to be known as an honest man who lived his life with integrity and compassion for all living creatures. As Jack grew older, he began to notice that the ocean was not as plentiful as it once was. The waters were becoming polluted and overfished, and the once thriving ecosystem was slowly dying. He knew that he had to do something to help. So, he gathered the local fishermen and together, they formed a plan to protect the ocean and its creatures. They created a set of guidelines for sustainable fishing practices, limiting the number of fish that could be caught each day and the types of fishing gear that could be used. They also organized beach cleanups and worked with local officials to address pollution issues. At first, some of the other fishermen scoffed at Jack's ideas, calling him a dreamer who didn't understand the realities of their livelihood. But as they saw the positive impact that Jack's actions were having on the ocean, they began to come around. Soon, other communities heard about Jack's work and began implementing similar sustainable fishing practices. The ocean began to thrive once again, and the fishermen saw their catch increase in both quantity and quality. Years went by, and Jack became known as a leader in sustainable fishing practices. He was invited to speak at conferences and meetings, sharing his wisdom and inspiring others to take action to protect the ocean and its creatures. Even in his old age, Jack continued to fish and teach others about the importance of treating the ocean with respect and compassion. He knew that the ocean was not just a source of livelihood, but a living, breathing ecosystem that deserved to be protected for future generations. And so, the legacy of the honest fisherman continued to live on, inspiring others to make a difference in the world by living their lives with integrity and compassion for all living creatures. Chapter 3: A Fisherman in a Village. As the years went by, Jack continued to fish and work to protect the ocean. He watched as his community and others began to adopt sustainable fishing practices and the ocean slowly began to recover. But Jack knew that there was still more work to be done. He wanted to ensure that future generations would be able to enjoy the ocean just as he had. So, he began to work with local schools, teaching children about the importance of ocean conservation and sustainable fishing practices. He would take them out on his boat, showing them how to fish responsibly and respect the ocean's creatures. He taught them about the different species of fish, how they lived and how they were interconnected with the ocean's ecosystem. The children were amazed by Jack's knowledge and passion for the ocean. They began to see the ocean not just as a source of food and income, but as a living, breathing ecosystem that deserved respect and protection. Over time, Jack's efforts began to bear fruit. The children grew up to become responsible fishermen and community leaders who worked to protect the ocean and its creatures. And Jack, in his old age, looked out at the ocean with pride, knowing that his life's work had made a difference. The ocean was teeming with life once again, and future generations would be able to enjoy its beauty and bounty thanks to his efforts. In the end, Jack passed away peacefully, surrounded by his family and friends. But his legacy lived on, inspiring others to live their lives with integrity and compassion for all living creatures, and to work to protect the world we all share. After Jack's passing, the community came together to honor his memory and continue his work. They erected a statue of him by the shore, looking out over the ocean that he had worked so hard to protect. His teachings and principles were passed down to the younger generations, and his sustainable fishing practices were adopted by fishermen all over the world. Thanks to his efforts, the ocean was able to recover and thrive, and it became a symbol of hope for a better future. People came from all over to see the ocean that Jack had helped save, and his story inspired others to take action to protect our planet's natural resources. Years went by, and the ocean continued to thrive. The fishermen in Jack's community prospered, and their families were able to enjoy the fruits of their labor. And every year, on the anniversary of his passing, the community would come together to celebrate his life and honor his legacy. They would tell stories of his adventures on the sea, and his tireless work to protect the ocean and its creatures. Jack may have been just one man, but his impact on the world was immeasurable. His story was a testament to the power of one person to make a difference, and to the importance of living a life with integrity, compassion, and respect for all living creatures. As time passed, the legacy of Jack's work continued to inspire people all over the world to take action to protect the ocean and its creatures. His story was shared in books and documentaries, and his sustainable fishing practices were adopted by communities all over the world. Jack's name became synonymous with ocean conservation and sustainability. Years went by, and Jack's community continued to thrive. The fishermen continued to fish responsibly, and the ocean continued to thrive with an abundance of marine life. One day, a group of young fishermen came to Jack's statue by the shore. They were just starting out in their fishing careers, and they wanted to pay their respects to the man who had inspired him to fish responsibly and protect the ocean. As they stood there, they noticed something strange in the water. A large plastic bag was floating by, carried by the current. The young fisherman quickly sprang into action, pulling the bag out of the water and disposing of it properly. As they did so, they thought about Jack's teachings and how important it was to protect the ocean from pollution. The incident made them realize that the work of protecting the ocean was never done. There would always be new challenges and threats to the ocean's ecosystem, and it was up to them to carry on Jack's legacy and work to protect it. And so, they went out to sea with a renewed sense of purpose, inspired by Jack's story and his dedication to protecting the ocean. In the end, Jack's legacy lived on, inspiring future generations to work towards a more sustainable and responsible way of living, and to always remember the importance of protecting our planet's natural resources. If you're looking for a fun and effective way to improve your English, subscribe to our channel, Listen English Story with GKS.